Twitter at Mainland FM. We are the sound of Lagos.
When the airwaves in your market become more and more crowded, it's time to break it open and really stand out. Broken Air is here.
On Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos.
You are listening to the Morning Express on Mainland 98.3 FM.
Good morning.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is. The most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too. Welcome to the Morning Express on Mainland 98.3 FM.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. You're still on to the Morning Express on Mainland 98.3 FM, the sound of Lagos. My name is Sage Babalola. We just went through trends in the papers. We looked at the Punch. We looked at the Guardian. Unfortunately, we weren't able to review the Vanguard newspaper, but it's okay. Majority of the stories that we reviewed on the other papers are also being replicated across other newspapers. So we were able to cover majority of the trending stories on the front pages of our dailies. My name is Sage Babalola. I do have Side on the line, and together we're going to go through Mainland Focus. What's peculiar about this segment of the show is that you also you're allowed, do not limited to the stories that are just for the sake of those of you who probably has to protest or to threaten a protest because the federal government has not been able to implement the 35,000 naira wage award, and we have states who are actually paying the wage award, paying as little as 15,000 or 10,000 naira as opposed to the agreed 35,000 naira. We also informed you that the federal government has restored electricity in Niger, and they've lifted other financial and economic sanctions placed on Niger, although political sanctions still remain. Also, the federal government will be borrowing via Eurobond in June, as it's a lot of dislocations to our budget because of the falling crude oil prices, amongst other things, and also the accountant general, commissioners, etc., who went to London in the United Kingdom to hold a workshop. People are saying in the midst of a forex crisis that might not have been the best decision. And regarding the abductions that happened in Kaduna State, 208 pupils and teachers, the federal government has reiterated its decision to not negotiate with these abductors, nor are they going to pay any ransom for them, although Sheikh Gumi has been offering that the federal government allow him the opportunity to negotiate for the release of the abducted pupils and teachers. So those are some of the prominent stories across the papers. But before we open the phone lines, let's hear from Fuad this morning, what he considers to be his focus of the day. Good morning, Fuad. How are you doing once again?
Yes, thank you so much, Sage. I'm going to make it very fast. I think the most important thing to talk about now is how the government should secure the release of the over 400 Nigerians, mostly women and children, in the hands of these criminals, these bandits and terrorists. It's not bad that the government, the president, is taking a position of no negotiation, no ransom payment. But I think that, look, this is an issue that has to be handled very carefully. Not with too much of emotions, really. It has to come from the standpoint of critical thinking, putting everything on the table and looking at all of the options to secure the release of these children. Nobody's encouraging ransom payment, really. But again, we have to tell ourselves the truth. Do we have the capacity to secure the release of these children without any collateral damage, for example? If we're going to look at what has happened with Chibok, at other school attacks in the past, that until now a lot of those kidnapped and abducted are still with these terrorists. Some of them have been married away. Some of them are beginning to, give them children and all of that. It's not a good story, really. And for us to continue to have a reputation of that unfortunate situation, it means that we need to tell ourselves the home truth, really, about our capacity and our dedication to solving the problem. So it's important that everything has to be put on the table. Whatever we need to do now. And it is not just about now. It's also about the future. It's about tomorrow. We can't continue to have a repeat of this unfortunate situation. So how do we now ensure that we have a more sustainable process? You know, where we get ahead of the criminals, they can't be ahead of us. We should always be ahead of them. But getting ahead of criminals will require deep thinking, commitment, you know, fighting corruption within the system, and ensuring that everybody is is committed to solving the problem. Not just about statements. We are used to statements every day, but nothing gets done. So again, I want to urge the president and appeal to him to do everything possible to get Nigerians that have been kidnapped by these bandits, only these children and women, and every other Nigerian out there, back to their families. Unreferred spending, misappropriation of funds. You are borrowing for that. Because